Welcome back, one and all, and thank you for joining me today. As always, I'm Daniel Blake, and there's something about competitive gaming that seems to always get people riled up. Now, of course, it's only human to get a little bit frustrated during a competition. I mean, we see it all of the time in professional sports, but there's something about video games that seems to add just a little extra sprinkle of that anger in there, you know? Maybe that has to do with the fact that in online gaming, you don't have to actually look at the person you're facing, so it takes that human aspect out of it, and it's a lot easier to just berate somebody. I mean, honestly, this would make a lot of sense to me, considering the fact that you see it both from your enemies, with just calling you names and things regardless if you're doing good or bad, or your own teammates flaming you for throwing the game 2 seconds into actually starting it. Now, you can see these types of aggressive behaviors across every single game that has multiplayer, but I will say there are 3 primary genres which seem to be the main culprits of this harassment. So I want to take this video to really dive in and let you know what I've experienced and the research I've done into these 3 incredibly toxic gaming categories. Now, being a former 3-season athlete in the long distant past of high school, I can't help but get a little excited every time I drive past one of those fields every fall and see the freshly painted grass and ready for Friday night, man. It just gets me going. I don't know what to say. Now, even though my time on the gridiron may be over, I am still a huge fan of the NFL and do partake in playing a game of Madden from time to time. Now, say what you will about EA's sports titles, but you can't deny they sell like hotcakes whenever they come out, even if the only thing that's changed is the people on the roster. Madden wasn't actually my introduction to sports gaming. That credit goes to NFL Blitz 2000 on the Nintendo 64, where my brother and I would spend countless hours playing scrimmages against each other. And to be honest with you, looking at it now, I have no idea how we did that, especially on that super shitty controller that we had. Anyway, sorry, I got caught in nostalgia land there. My point being that back in the day, the only way to actually experience multiplayer was through couch co-op with the person sitting right next to you. Now, that all changed with the release of Madden 2003, which was the first Madden game to include an online multiplayer option. Now, this certainly wasn't the first sports game to ever have an online mode, as both FIFA and NBA 2K had already released one back in 2000, but the addition of it to Madden caused the already popular series to absolutely explode. Together, the trio of popular sports series absolutely dominated the entire market, and nobody could keep up with EA's level of quality and performance while being inclusive to all of these new game modes that they were pushing out year after year, back when EA still did that. This truly marked the dawning of a new era of gaming, because for the first time, you could pick your favorite team to play as and match up against somebody somewhere else in the country or across the world to go head to head. And it was a truly amazing time to be alive. However, if you have ever played a sports game against somebody online, you will quickly know that not everything is sunshine and rainbows when it comes to online gaming. The biggest issue that arose from this was the fact that you could leave a game in the middle of it if your team was losing, and it wouldn't necessarily count as a loss against you online. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't care about this, that's no big deal, but in all honesty, every competitive gamer that I know, if you play sports games, that record is their life. They are aware of it, and it is very frustrating if you do not get a win that you were deserved, myself included. Now, fortunately, modern day Maddens have fixed this, but back in the day, wasn't the case at all. Wasn't the case. You were just marked as a no contest, essentially. And it wasn't even like if you were playing this in the living room with your friends or family, you could still hold that above them that they just rage quit. Online, doesn't matter. You're never going to see this person again, most likely. So what's the problem with ducking and running? It's very frustrating if you're about to win a game and then they just bail and you get nothing from it. This was notorious in FIFA for a very long time. And my lord, I have had plenty of gripes, especially in college playing it, with people who are just bailing from online competitions. It's just kind of like, just take the L with pride, man. Come on, it happens to the best of us. Just take that L, move on, play your next game. That way you don't get a ban, and the person who won rightfully did so. Now, if having people leaving on you in the middle of a game you're about to win isn't the most frustrating thing in the world to you, EA decided to dump a little bit more gasoline into that fire when they decided the best way that they could make money with their franchise was the release of a gacha system game type called Ultimate Teams. This game mode allows you to try to assemble the best possible team of players that you can by collecting cards and abilities that you will apply to your ultimate team. Now, it doesn't sound so bad, right? You use victories and in-game currency in order to try to buy these cards with no guarantee you're going to get anything for the most part. Or, you could just bypass that part of the gameplay and spend real-life money in order to get attempts to get these really good players. And before you go thinking, well, I'm sure not that many people pay for Ultimate Team, right? I want to let you know that in EA's fiscal year 2021, they made $1.62 billion off of the gacha system of Ultimate Teams alone. So yeah, a lot of people are gambling on this, and that feels really wrong to me, particularly for children who play this game, because it feels like it's enabling a behavior that we don't really want to spread to the kids. So I'm pointing a little bit of a finger at EA on this one, and the other companies that do this. It's one thing to have a gacha system for cosmetics and things that don't actually affect the game, but when you're having people gamble to actually be successful while playing, that feels like it crosses a line to me, because you know what you're doing. You know who's going to fall victim to that, and that's just not okay. Honestly, it's bad enough with people being poor sports online and sports games, but when you have the company itself actively pushing for people to get triggered so they can get more sales, that it just rubs me the wrongest kind of way, and honestly, EA should really be ashamed of themselves for that. And all the other companies that do that too, because it's cheap and you know what you're doing, and money isn't everything, man. This is the thing that people are doing to try to relax and chill out from stress that they have in their life. So, or, just to have fun with their friends. You don't have to make a profit on every moment that somebody's playing your games, but apparently they haven't got the message on that. So this is the first and only time in this video I'm going to point at a publisher and say this is your fault for the reason that the community can be so toxic. This brings me to my next category, first-person shooters. Now, it's not surprising where a game's whole purpose is to kill somebody else that there would be a lot of toxicity, and this stretches across the entirety of the genre, with massive titles such as Halo, Call of Duty, Fortnite, PUBG, Counter-Strike. The list goes on, and as you can see as I'm scrolling here, there are just so many here within the genre. Now, there are some franchises, particularly the Call of Duty series, which have a bit of a checkered past in terms of how they've handled code of conduct and harassment issues on the server. They've gotten a lot better at it in the modern day and have appropriate bans for individuals who do hate speech or other inappropriate behavior, but this was not always the case. For example, getting messages such as this lovely one here was not necessarily uncommon during the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. Now, even if you weren't getting these intense hate messages after every match, one thing you could guarantee was some screeching 12-year-old throwing out slurs every time that they were killed on the map or being called a cheater or hacker. It really wasn't a great time to be online. I mean, particularly when you heard words like the F-bomb in regards to the LGBTQ community on a regular basis. It's just, I'm trying to relax and game, and I don't need to hear that from some kid who hasn't even hit puberty yet. While it seems like hate speech has been on a sharp decline in these shooters, that doesn't mean that being tilted has at all. I mean, all we need to do is take a quick peek at the Battle Royale genre to know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if you're like me, you are no stranger in Fortnite to touching down, just beginning to look for your loot before a 10-year-old instantaneously shows up, shoots you, and then dances on your corpse as a little bit of insult to injury. Now, call me old-fashioned, but what happened to the good old teabag, man? That's what I still like to do, and it seems like it's gone to the wayside ever since these Fortnite dances became so darn popular. Personally, I think it's hilarious that Fortnite has somehow made a monetization platform where people are literally just paying to try to tilt other people when they get a kill in terms of a celebration. Like, that is actually hilarious to me. Honestly, I gotta give them credit for that because they're like the first ones to do that super successfully. And honestly, I've never seen somebody get more mad than somebody dressed up as Alistar from Hazbin Hotel and doing the insane dance on top of someone. Ultimate way to rage someone out. So it's just pretty funny to me that a company is actually endorsing the rage because it's making them more money like this. It's totally different than EA, in my opinion, where their causing people to get tilted because they can't play the game properly. Once again, this is cosmetic, so it's kind of like, well, whatever. It's not going to make you better at the game if you have the best skins, all the dances, and yada, yada, yada. It's just something funny cosmetically that they chose to do, and it doesn't make you pay for it necessarily. So now, before we get into the final area of what really tilts us the most, I need to warn you that it will put all of the sports games, the first-person shooters, and every other category to complete and utter shame. And the mere mention of some of these games' titles is enough to push some people over the edge. And I am talking about MOBAs. That is right, the granddaddy of all toxicity. Before I can make this critique, I have a honest confession I need to make to you all. I play League of Legends. I know, it's terrible, it's awful, but what can I say? It dug its claws into me when I was a freshman in college, and, you know, just like a blitzcrank hook, it ain't letting go. So, what can I say? Now, even though I've been playing for many years, that doesn't necessarily mean I've made any progress with the game in terms of my ranking, as Silver 3 is the highest I've ever gotten. But honestly, guys, it's not my fault. Like, seriously, why can't my jungler gank for me? Why are all the other lanes losing? I mean, everybody has a negative KDA except for me, so, like, it's their fault, not mine, right? I don't know why I keep playing this game. It just pisses me off so fucking much. Whoa. Sorry about that. That happens to me sometimes when I start thinking about these games. Anyways, Dota, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, they're all games that are very reliant on teamwork and communication, but in my experience, you get the wrong type of both every single time that I choose to play. With MOBAs requiring such a level of teamwork, there are so many different ways that it can become very tilting, and I want to just cover a few of the biggest ones today so you can know just the level of frustration you can experience while playing one. So firstly, take everything that I had mentioned about sports games and first-person shooters and apply them here, because you're going to see all of it within a MOBA as well, unfortunately. You're going to get the hate speech, you're going to get people leaving the game before it's over and all that crap. So, secondly, these games are very long, and your average match time is anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes typically, so you're in it for the long haul if you're on a bad team. There is the option to surrender, but most of the time, you have to get a full unanimous decision to do that until a little bit later on. So good luck if you get stuck with a bad team there. Thirdly, not only do you have to worry about your enemy giving you a bunch of crap, but your own team more than anybody else, with things such as annoying pings over and over and over again when someone's irritated with you, emotes to just kind of rub something in your face, or just the general chat to harass you as well. Now, you can silence all of these. That is an option here in League. However, the problem with that is now you can't communicate with your team at all. So if somebody's requesting your help to attack or whatever it may be, you're not going to find out about it, and you're just going to kind of have to guess. So, you know, good luck with that. And lastly, and without question, the worst among all is griefing, otherwise known as running down and purposely getting yourself killed so the enemy team can benefit from your death. Now, I'm going to try to explain why this is so bad in a MOBA without entirely explaining how the economy and gameplay works, so try to bear with me here. When an enemy gets a kill on you, they get gold and experience points, which are used to empower their player and buy items to make them stronger. So every time that a player is dying, the opponent is getting stronger and stronger and stronger at a rapid pace, much quicker than everybody else in the map that isn't dealing with this and playing a regular game. So there's no need to say that by the time most people are just getting powered up, the person that is being fed by the griefing player has already surpassed you about 10 times over. So you can see how quickly that would break the game altogether. This is incredibly frustrating as if somebody just trying to play, because again, these games are super long and griefing isn't something that can be reported until after the game is over. So if this particular griefer chooses to, I don't know, reject all the surrenders, you're looking at about a 30-minute long game potentially, where you know you cannot win, but you cannot leave, and if you do, you will get hit with a ban for leaving early. Now, isn't that some crap? Now, griefers can get banned for this activity. Well, once again, you gotta wait till the game is over, otherwise you're gonna be punished too. So that's 30 minutes of your life wasted. So that's why I hate griefing so much. Just, if you're gonna do that, if you're going to be a poor sport like that, just don't play the game. It is not funny. It's not enjoyable for anybody else. You're not cool by doing it. Just don't, okay? Just don't. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little frustrated here just talking about it, but it really, really rubs me the wrong way. It is for these reasons I can say without a shadow of a doubt that for the duration you are within a game, it becomes the most toxic environment in the entirety of the internet, and is one of the few times that I will say all hate directed towards MOBAs is 100% deserved. So, you know what? I still play them. Clearly, there's something very addicting about the gameplay, and I like to play with my buddy. Actually, I'm going to be launching a little bit of a side series here coming soon regarding League of Legends, so bear with me for that. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, because these games, they got a way to get to you. They really do. Look, as I've gotten older, I've found myself being drawn more and more to single-player or couch co-op experiences because competitive online gaming is frankly stressful, and that's not usually how I like to spend my gaming time. You know, with my buddies, I do like to play competitively just because it's more time I get to spend with them and get to be a part of a team, but if it's just my choice, I'm going to pick a single player experience most every time, but that's just me. I'd love to hear your experiences that you've had with competitive online gaming. If you've felt or experienced anything that I've mentioned here, if there's anything you want to add, like, I would love to hear about it. And if there's any categories you think are worse than MOBAs, like, let me know, because that's the worst one that I've seen so far. Thank you so much for tuning in. I can't let you know how much I appreciate it. This is my first time using the new green screen, so I'm wicked hype about that. If you haven't yet, leaving a like and subscribe would be more than I could ever ask for. And if you're feeling super generous, I have a Patreon in my bio, so feel free to check that out for a little extra content if you're craving it. But until next time, guys, I thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you have just the most wonderful day. Deuces!